Hello everybody, it is Al Night as Brony Time, and welcome back to the Hayseed Night. Yep, that's right. This video is just going to be lore. We've unlocked a lot of new things throughout the last chapter, and so yeah, at the beginning of each chapter, I'm going to read everything we unlocked in terms of characters, lore, locations, dictionaries, all that kind of stuff. So let's get right into it, we got a lot to read through. Tezina, known as Boss, a huge variety of insults related to her hair color. Age, no one actually counted. Species, supposedly she is a golem. Birthplace, they don't know. Ina's quite simple. Simple not in the sense of being simple-minded, no. She just has her own priorities in life. Communicating is not one of them. Her father, the merchant, took great care in teaching her to write and read, but she prefers to spend her time doing more practical stuff, such as smashing things in her forge, or faces. Ildegrab Buntalos, known as the Peacekeeper, he is 104 years old. Goddamn. Species, he is a Makadir. Birthplace, Irlam. Ildegrab is a deer tree. Tree deer of jovial disposition and a voice powerful like no other. He's kind of a celebrity, the giant who is always patrolling around the city, ready to speak to nobles and peasants without any distinction. Everyone knows that he's tremendously important, but no one's really sure of what his actual job is. After all, Peacemaker is ambiguous of a job description as it gets. He's an old friend of the merchant, seems to have a soft spot for Adder's antics. Known as Jasif. Sep? Age? It's the braid, isn't it? Ugh, I knew it. Species Barn, birthplace we don't know. She calls herself Sep, but does not want others to call her Sep, and gets all bothered when they do. So I'm 100% going to call her Sep here. Sep talks, walks, and acts like there was a single star in the sky, and it was her. Much like the sun, however, no matter how much you want to stare at her, you're better off enjoying her beauty a few planets' distance away. Where you can't hear her chuckling at you. Most people would at least be somewhat concerned about girls that go around calling themselves queen and saying they're old acquaintances, but then again, Adder's no one to talk. Talid. Talid the Treasurer, known as the Almatasen Mustaf. Age, why are you asking me that? Who sent you? Species, a cane deer, birthplace, Irlam. Talid is a calm, cordial man, never one to raise his voice, and never one to need, so his fame precedes him wherever he goes. Okay. As polite as he is detached, Talid is more a force of nature than an active menace. Harmless as long as you don't cross his path. That is to say, if you wouldn't go outside during a storm and point a sword at the sky, you'd be wise to give the treasurer of Irlam Traders Guild a similar treatment. A brief talk with this deer will show you that he's not quite as emotionless as he looks. It's not that he chooses to be cold as a glacier, he simply does not care about you, and especially not Adder. How dare you bring him up? Wait a minute. Does he have a thing for Adder? Now, if you were to mention Ina, however. 2? Huh, I wonder what's going on with that. I guess we'll find out. Merchant. Tess Pertok, known as the Merchant Red. Age, Species, Barn. Birthplace, Angry old man won't stop yelling. He refuses to die in pyres organized by huge mobs, too. The nerve. Adder keeps calling him patron, though the forge where he works belongs ostensibly to Ina. Widely known as the Sephi, holy desert fame, though one has to wonder whether there's truly a single drop of Hatsa left in his angry old bones. Lore time! Oh, no. Never mind, we don't have any lore, actually. Just a bunch of new locations. Irlam, the capital of Aksor, and the most populated city in the whole of Dakna, the jewel of the Akane Steppes, always growing in the isthmus that separates Lake Tizal from the Alar Sea, despite the apparent lack of space. Irlam has a huge overpopulation problem, which is due to its location in the middle of a mostly infertile steppe overrun by bandits, the cause of an ongoing famine. The royal court only inhabits the palace that towers over the city from bleak night to dawn sweat, moving to smaller palaces far up to the north in the hot moons of Dawnsu. Heartache District. Heartache District is where bucks who feel very lonely go to feel a little less lonely. Look, I'm not going to get into details, but the service there goes from extremely fancy company to, I guess you don't mind being stabbed while you're naked. The Slander District. Located to the northeast of Irlum, Slander District is, simply put, a hill full of cutthroat slums, where the standard laws of property and ownership need not apply. Before the war, it used to be a district populated by Baran researchers that seek some peace far from the bazaar or anywhere mildly important, with the sole exception of the old great temple of Hero, from which only a gazelle statue remains intact. Akazor. Akazor is a huge kingdom located on the eastern end of the steppes. It is ruled in its entirety by the immortal High King Isifik, a beast of legend turned deer that has been sitting on his throne in Irlum since time immemorial, helping him govern each province and continue its expansion. Lords descend from the original deer that helped Isifik battle other beasts, rule each province, having petty inside wars, and applying the laws they see fit, knowing well that they are protected by their status as nobles. Akazor suffers from a horrible problem of mismanagement, where most of its resources are destined to their capital just to keep the huge famines that devastate it every dawn swoon under check. Bascarat. Bascarat is the name given to the Baran kingdom that occupied the southern end of the continent, a desert peninsula connected to the rest of Dakna by the isthmus occupied by a perennial forest of people. The kingdom was lost to the sands of time 4 centuries ago, buried by deer with a lot of swords and torches. Dakna. The world we inhabit is mainly composed of a single enormous continent that extends from the frozen northern reaches of Akhtamusarat to the Akane steppes that are home to the biggest portion of Akazor, to the prairies of Sanshura, and the forest people in the south, which are connected through an isthmus to the desert peninsula that used to occupy the kingdom of Bascarat. The vast majority of the world has an arid climate where only steppe and life forms thrive without the help of irrigation and similar technologies. This is the reason why, with the exception of Sanshura, where the climate is very forgiving and water is abundant, and the nomadic people that live off herding bushes and digging for underground water, town all across Dakna form and survive exclusively around exuberant oases and lakes. Dictionary. Alright, here we go. Amantasen or Mustasaf is an ancient word that used to refer to the inspection of markets and workshops. Note, this is a real concept. Follow this link to know more about them. Spanish only. What does it mean by Spanish only? Does that mean it's only going to be in Spanish? I'm going to check that off camera, and if there's something, we may read it quickly. I'm so curious now, though. Oh, shit. Okay, it's literally just in Spanish. Okay. Oh, no, wait, quick. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. I'm gonna give it time to catch up. Okay. I'm sorry, I opened up the thing, so that probably just, like, tanked the, FPS on the recording. I'm sorry about that. Okay. A short throwing spear. Assegai. No, this is a real concept. Follow this link to know more about them. Okay, unfortunately, I can't do that on this video. I can't, unfortunately. But, we got it. It's a short throwing spear. That's what it is. Bascatet is known as the first language since it was spoken by the gods themselves. It is extremely complex, with sentences being a huge conglomeration of words that keep changing depending on the word that comes before and after to form long syllabic strings of what can only be defined as nonsense. For the untrained, the very trained, and anyone who hasn't spent at least 40 years listening to it, with the rise of Sonar during the Second Creation, and the apparition of Heru, Barons took it upon themselves to preserve this ancient language in order to please their creator. The only buildings that still speak Bascatet, though somewhat simplified, are Ibex. Baron lingo, or gazelle speak, is notable for containing traces of Boscatet, taken out of context and often misconstructed, i.e. Ishkap, literally from a place, translates to dolt, as it's derived from Istishkapasha? One that falls from their chair. Okay. Horn eater. Slang used to refer to a male deer who shows interest in another male deer, especially one with big horns. Okay. A male or female gazelle, since they're both horned. The word is in its origin a lewd reference to the posture necessary for two male stags to partake in such an act. And its meaning expanded to cover gazelles, as well as deer caravaneers extended the rumor that all gazelles were male in the first years of contact due to their horns. While not illegal in any way, they faced heavy social stigma. Roebucks have a fame for being interested in gazelles, so they are particularly vocal on their dislike for horn eaters. Which he was. Karnme. Karnme is the name of legendary deer practice of butting heads, a need that seems to run in their blood. Karnme tournaments are held for anything, from deciding a come-of-age maiden's groom to settling minor disputes outside the courts, or even just for mere fun. Official Karnme has to be approved by the court, and while often a complement to bigger events, some people attend said celebrations exclusively to watch duels. Some of the strongest deer became known kingdom-wide, earning fortune, fame. Some of the strongest deer became known kingdom-wide, earning fortune, fame, does and sometimes even lordship thanks to their achievements in these battles. Fans of Karnme could get so impatient waiting between events that they'd often gather in narrow streets to watch other deer fight in unsanctioned duels, leading to the birth of Karnme alleys, some of the shadiest corners of the city. The rules of Karnme are fairly simple, though they need not necessarily apply in Karnme alleys and more colloquial events. Both deer must stay within the boundaries of the ring at all times. If either deer touches the ground with three limbs, they automatically lose. If one fighter manages to lock their horns around the others, they may not be separated while both fighters have their hooves on the ground. The fighters may not remove the other's clothes or armor, or otherwise interfere with their belongings in any way that could disturb their opponent. Interesting. Sand fur. Slur used to refer to roes. Sand refers to the similarity of their yellow-orange fur to that of gazelles. Okay, so they are half gazelle. Cernar is the language of the steppes, a simplified version of Boscatet, mainly differentiated in the composition of words and the use of spaces for clarification. Sinwar began being recognized as a different language by the end of the War too, but it was considered inferior to Boscatet until the Baron Rebellion, with the fall of the kingdom of Boscarat. Deer population have been increasing steadily since they discovered that the gods wouldn't smite them for breathing in between words. Interesting. Well, okay. I think that was all there was. Yeah, that's really all there is. Alrighty. Yeah, this video was a lot more shorter than a regular video, but once again, I'm doing these lore videos as completely separate now, so people can just skip them and then, you know, come back if they don't want to sit here and listen to me mispronounce everything. And of course, that's fine. Of course, as Maxie has said, you don't need to read these at all. So, but I like to do it. It's just a personal thing of mine. And if you like it, stick around, hear me read. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to get everything, but pulling up Wikipedia, just, yeah, so it's just I cannot run more than one program. All I can run is OBS and the game. That's it. I need more of that, and it's going to take up so much CPU that it's just going to take the frame rate. But I hope you enjoyed. If you did stick around for the lore, thank you so much. Thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to BronyTime for more content, especially more of the Hayseed Knight. Also, make sure to share this video far and wide so we can get as many eyes on the series as possible and keep up its momentum. I will see you next time.